like you did something in the last 4 minutes.
Yeah. Wow. I just went out and grabbed me another donut.
Me and you and these donuts. Now listen, it's got to stop.
Okay. Now listen. Now I want to get right back at this thing about this preacher thing, because I said, as in the first or second hour, I said, why is it that people that have spiritual propensities or gifts are scoffed at or told they're demon chasers or who knows what, possessed or whatever, and then you get this episode. You know, in fact, let me here's a real quick one. A friend of mine was asked if they had some pictures of a church by a person who went to this church, and because the people in the church wouldn't give their own member the picture, so my friend had the pictures. It's kind of a long story, but that's basically it. Somebody who did not go to their church gave them the pictures of the church that they wanted from the people that they went to church with. I know that's kind of wacky, but the end result was you were talking about, and I told him, I said that sounds more Christian, say, than the people in the church who refused to let the lady have the pictures. So is it then that being spiritual may be more to do with living a life of love towards one's neighbor than putting on a suit on Sunday morning and sitting in a pew somewhere?
Oh God!
Did I just light the fire on that one?
I've asked myself this a million times, and as a little old boy, you know, when you're a boy, you do things that you later on think better of. Well, I'm not a very educated man, so I'll give you a little bit background of how I was when I was a boy. I quit school in the 9th grade because the principal whooped me.
Whoa!
But I didn't learn anything all through school, and you know why, Daniel?
Why's that?
I was thinking too much of the girl behind me.
Whoa! At
all times.
Okay.
And that's the truth.
Okay.
So being a little old boy with your eyes open, you know. Especially when it comes to girls. Yeah. I went to, I started thumbing, and I would thumb 16 miles to a little bitty old church.
Okay.
And believe me real quick, I am not putting every church, every preacher in the world down. I won't do that. But individuals are individuals. Preachers are still human. It's just like we heard yesterday about John Edwards. He's still human. And what happened was I went to this church that time, and there was, I'm counting, I think there was 9 people there that night. Yeah. And, you know, at the end of the church service, we would go up to the altar and we would pray.
All right.
One lady came up from Richlands, Virginia, and she was there that night. A very attractive lady.
All right.
And the preacher was from Richlands. It was just a visiting preacher because there was no preachers at this church or anything like this. They just came up and just, you know, to keep it going.
Right.
Well, he had did his sermon, then he called everybody to come to the altar and pray. Well, you've got to remember, I am 14 years old. I've got more interest in just sitting at the altar. Now, I'm being realistic here. I'm not, you know, I'm just giving you exactly what I see.
Okay.
Now, I'm sitting here at the altar, and I've got my hands together. I'm just praying up a storm. And really, I was praying with words, but my eyes were in other spots. The lady that came up from Richland, she's kneeling down right beside of me. And I'm going to tell you straight out, I'm looking at her legs. I'm not looking anyplace else. I'm 14 years old. And here comes the preacher. The preacher put his left hand on my back and held his right hand up in there, and boy, he's just praying up a storm.
Oh, man.
Then he went to the lady beside of me. Now, you got to remember, my eyes are wide open now, Daniel.
Yeah, boy.
Well, yeah, his hand went straight up in the air, but his right hand was cupping her breast.
Whoa.
And I was watching it every move. Now, that doesn't mean every preacher's like that.
No.
But if you're going to preach the gospel, live it.
Wow.
Live it.
Well,
and I seen, and to be a child of 14 years old and to see something like that, it was absolutely one of the biggest eye openers I ever seen about the world.
Well, at that point, you didn't say, "That's how I do it. I can become a preacher and I get what I want." Is that what you didn't think that, did you?
Oh God! I mean, no, I didn't do that.
That's what this preaching business is all about, you know.
Well, I had in that same church one time. You know, I was a real quiet kid at the time.
Yeah.
And I grew up to run my mouth more than anything else.
Okay.
And I was sitting in the back of the church. And the reason I'm saying is because we got on that point. I've been in I've seen a lot. I've been to a lot of churches, and believe me, there's more good in a church than there ever was anything else.
Okay, there we go.
But on Sunday morning, I was sitting in the very back of the church. I wasn't saying nothing, and another visiting preacher was there. But what I didn't realize that I had dated this preacher's sister at one time.
Oh.
Now, he's up in front, and boy, he's just cutting a fit. Oh, he's jumping up and down, and he's carrying on, and I'm listening to the whole sermon, which was a pretty good sermon.
All right.
Daniel, I'm 14 years old. He jumps away from the altar, away from the pulpit. He runs up the aisle, and he puts his finger right in my face.
Whoa.
And he says, if you don't straighten up, you're going to hell. You're going to hell.
Whoa.
He didn't even know me. And he did this to a 14-year-old kid.
That'll scar you.
It did. It did. 2 episodes right there has scarred me from really opening my eyes. And believe me, sir, there are preachers out here right now that are true to what their belief.
Yeah.
And then you've got other preachers out here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that. There is a TV evangelist. I'm not going to say his name. I don't want to wind up in trouble like you said a while ago. Yeah, I will.
Okay.
You're daggone right, I will.
Right,
I don't mind a bit. Robert Teasdale. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
Okay.
I was going to kill myself. I sat in my mother's basement because me and my wife had separated. I lost my job. I lost my family. I lost my land. I lost my home. All in a 2-day period.
Oh, man.
I moved in with my parents. I had a .38 revolver. Now, you know, there's things in this world we can't explain. We cannot explain. You can call it fate. You can call it anything you want. But I sat in that basement and the TV was on. I had my face about 2 foot from the TV. I had a loaded pistol to my head. And here's what I was thinking. Here's what's going in my mind at that time. I remember just plain as day. I was thinking, oh, God, if I shoot, Dad's going to come down here and see me. Mom may come first. There's going to be all this screaming. I had already made up my mind to blow my brains out. I didn't have anything to live for at that moment. And here's Robert Teasdale on TV. You know, I reckon God can use people any way he wants to.
Yeah.
But Robert Teasdale came on that TV. He's sitting there in front of his mic, and he says, wait a minute. I know what you're getting ready to do. Put that pistol down. And when he said that, I'm looking, you know, I've got a pistol up to my brains.
Wow.
He said, God has a way for you. Put the pistol down. Call this number. You know how much I want to hear them words? I want to hear them words more than anything on this earth. So I went to the telephone, and I called that number. And guess what, Daniel? Got the biggest disappointment I ever had in my life. I wanted someone to help me. I want someone to listen to my sorrow and show me a way to get over this. You know what I heard?
Do you want to join our newsletter?
What's your name and address, sir? We're going to send you a letter out, and we would like to have $50 if it's all possible. And that's what I heard. Then I realized that came from something else instead of just Robert Teasdale on TV.
Wow.
And after I told him